Start from the very basic understanding of what is phonetics and what is phonology. Now, if you look at this word phonetics, then the important thing is that ICS in the end. Now, this ICS you not only find in this word phonetics, but you also find in the word like economics. You also find in a word like physics. You also find this ICS ending in the word like mathematics. That means this ICS ending has some significance. That this ICS ending is not something very random. So what is the meaning of this ICS? Or you can say TICS. The meaning is scientific study. And if we remove TICS from this word, then we have only phone. Now, phone, we generally have this understanding for our mobile phone or our landline phone. But here the meaning of phone is sound, and not any sound, but human speech sounds. Human beings, they can also make other sounds. For example, if I clap, this is also a sound. If I whistle, that is also a sound. When I'm putting something down on the floor, then it is also a sound. But we are not concerned about those sounds. Then what we are concerned about actually? We are concerned about human speech sounds. And when I say human speech sounds, that means I am talking about the sounds that are used in language. All of us are multilingual. I know Hindi language, I know English language. You also know Hindi, Dogri, English, Kashmiri, Bhadarwai, Siraji, Punjabi, or any other language. So in a way, we all are multilingual. That means we know more than one language. And in those languages, we use certain sounds. So there is a possibility that the sounds that you use in Hindi language, they are also similar to English language. At the same time, the sounds that you use in English language, they are similar to some sounds in Dogri, Punjabi, or any other language that you speak. Certain sounds are same, certain sounds are different, that you all agree. So what we do in phonetics, we study, and it is not some sort of subjective study, or it is not a study that is based on our own interpretation, that is not based on our whims and fancies, but we conduct a scientific study. Now, scientific doesn't mean that we need test tubes for that, but obviously we have phonetics labs where you can record your sound, you can hear your sound, you can hear your pronunciation, you can modify your pronunciation, and alike. So all such things you can do. So the scientific study of the human speech sounds is known as phonetics. And phonetics is a discipline. Like economics is a discipline. Physics is a discipline. So what is the meaning of discipline? The meaning of discipline is the field of study. Phonetics is a field of study, and what we do a scientific study of the human speech sounds. So we will do that, but here this is the definition and the understanding of this definition. Now phonology. Again we will come to the ending LOGY. Now if you pronounce this word phonology, then this is a wrong pronunciation. It is not phonology, it is phonology. Phonology. So you need to pronounce it logy, not logy. This is one thing that you need to remember. So when we come to this ending logy, again, this is not the only word where you have this ending logy or ogy. We have biology, sociology. Likewise, we have many endings with logy. So what is the meaning of this logy? So it is not something very random or something out of the blue we are using it. That means there is some pattern, there is some meaning associated with that. And what is that meaning? Again, the scientific study. So today you have a new learning. What is that new learning? That if a word ends with TICS, ICS, then the meaning is the scientific study. So you can define even economics. So what is economics? The scientific study of the economical pattern, transactions, fine, records, or the scientific study of economy in general. You can say like this. So here we have this word phonology. Again, it is the scientific study of sound, because phone is also here, but here it is phono. So phone is there, but here the difference is that it is sound patterning in spoken languages. All languages are spoken. All natural languages are spoken. Because if you remember your childhood, or if you notice one child, then you will find that you will find that first we learn how to speak, and then we learn how to write when we join formal education in schools. Then we learn how to write. And when we say sound patterning in spoken languages, then we are also focusing that there are certain languages which are not spoken. Now, which are those languages which are not spoken? The language of the computer, like it is a binary digit, and you have this programming codes, like you have secret languages like Morse code that you have. So you cannot speak those languages. If I say like talk in computer language, you will say I don't know computer language. How can I talk in computer language? So spoken languages are different and written languages are different. Human language that we speak, we can also write. That facility we have because we have certain letters. For example, in English language, we have 26 letters in the English alphabet. So what are those letters? Those letters are starting from A, ending with Z, also known as Z, and these are 26 in number. But these are not sounds, these are letters. And why do we have these letters? Because we can spell words, we can write anything using those words. So this is another thing, that letters are different and sounds are different. But here, when we talk about sound patterning in spoken languages, then you understand what is the meaning of sound patterning. Sound patterning is how one sound interacts with another sound. For example, I have a word like God. You also know how to spell this word. You know there are three letters. What are these three letters? These three letters are G, O, and B. These letters are there. But when it comes to sound, then you have the sound like G. G is first sound, O is second sound, and D is another sound. So these sounds, they are coming in sequence, G, O, D. And if I say this very quickly, G, O, D, then it becomes God. So this is sound patterning. Now, if these sounds, they are coming in this sequence, then when you say these three sounds in this sequence, then the word is God. And you know that God is a word in English language and not in Dogri language, not in Hindi language. So this is actually known as sound patterning. Now what will happen if I change the sound pattern? Like now the pattern is G or D, and if I change D or G, then it becomes dog. Another word. This is known as sound patterning, and there are certain rules that which sounds they can come together in meaningful way. So if you have only these sounds, only these three sounds, G or D, or D or G, and you have only two ways to combine them. Any other way, if you combine, that is not a word of English language. This is the common understanding of sound patterning, how sounds interact with each other. And these sounds not only interact with each other, they also influence each other. Because you know there is a popular saying that one should select one's friends very carefully. Why? Because you have an influence of other people in your life as well. So if you have a negative person in your life, then your entire life will become negative. If a positive person is there in your life, then your entire life will become positive. That means this proverb, this common sense understanding that we should choose our friends carefully, that means people influence each other. So similarly, sounds also influence each other, and we will see those influences in different words in the future course of uh, this discipline. Now, there are two more terms which are associated. One is phoneticians and another one is phonologist. Now, again, a person who studies phonetics is phonetician, and a person who studies sound patterning in a specific language, then the person is phonologist. Phonetics is general because what we have said, the scientific study of the human speech sounds. That means phonetics is general. Human speech sounds, that means any language across the globe, we can study those sounds. But when it comes to phonology, we are specifically dealing with one language, two language, or many languages. For example, we know the phonology of English is different from the phonology of Hindi. So if we undertake the study of English, then we will call it English phonology. If we undertake the study of Hindi, then we will call it Hindi phonology. So there is a significant difference that you will find in different phonologies. And because of that particular reasons, different words, they are sound differently. You know that which word is an English word and which word is a Hindi word, which word is a Dogri word. You know all these things because of this sound patterning, this interaction of sounds in different languages. Now, phoneticians and phonologists, they are the terms used for linguists who study phonetics and phonology respectively that we have seen. But we have two different definitions for phonetics and phonology, but at the same time, when we study sound system, then there is also a continuous interaction between these two fields. Because first we need to understand the general nature of that particular sound. For example, if I say a p, then what is your first observation when you hear this sound p? The first observation, you can see that my lips, two lips are touching each other when I say p. So for that particular reason, this particular sound is known as bilabial. Bi means two, labial means lips. So this is again a new information for you, that bi means two and labial means lips. And when two lips are used in a sound, that sound is known as bilabial sound. So when I say p, it is a bilabial sound. When I say b, it is a bilabial sound. When I say ma, it is a bilabial sound. So when we study about these individual sounds like pa, ba, ma, then phonetics also comes into play because we need to know which type of sound is this. What is the place of articulation? At the same time, we also need to know that how this sound interacts with other sound. For example, if I say pat, then you know that pa is the first sound. If I say tap, then you know that pa is the last sound here. Similarly, if I say bat, then you know the first sound is b, and when I say tab, then you know the last sound is b. And these two words, pat, bat, tab, pat, these words are English words that you also know. So speech sounds and how they are used in language, this theoretical context is called phonetics and phonology. So we will take help of both these disciplines, and we will try to find out first the general nature of these sounds, and then we will try to look at how these sounds they interact with each other. The benefit of this course is that it is a specialized course. So if you show your mark sheet or if you mention that, okay, I have studied introduction to English sound systems, then people will understand that, okay, you have a little knowledge, then you can become a language trainer as well, because you know the nitty gritty of this. So it will it will be a good sign if you show this thing in your mark sheet, that okay, I have done this thing also. So they will understand that the person knows how to pronounce thing correctly. That is one thing. And it will also open more job prospects in your life, because end of the day you will try to get some job in your life, whether it is a government job or you will work for an MNC. So it is like an extra edge this course will give you once this thing is mentioned there. To proceed further, when it comes to phonetics and phonology, there is a humorous saying by G.B. Shaw. G.B. Shaw, George Bernard Shaw, he was a British writer. And George Bernard Shaw highlighted inadequacies of English writing system. What is English writing system? The way words are spelled, and further these words are used to make phrases, clauses, or sentences. Then what are the inadequacies of English writing system? Here G.B. Shaw pointed out very clearly that the way you write is not the way you speak. And what G.B. Shaw said? G.B. Shaw said fish should be pronounced as goti. Fish you already know. Fish should be pronounced as goti. How? Now, in order to find out the answer of this word, fish should be pronounced as goti, you need to look at these three words. What are these three words? First word is enough. Second word is women. It is not woman. Woman is WOMAN, but it is women. You will call it women. And the last word is nation. Now, in enough, last two letters are highlighted. In women, O is highlighted. In nation, T and I, they are highlighted in red. Why? Because if you try to find out what these letters correspond, for example, enough, then GH corresponds to F. Enough. Last sound is F. When it comes to women, then O, letter O corresponds to E, sound E. And when it comes to nation, that is TI, it corresponds to sh sound. So we have picked those for E, sh, and we have written like fish, and fish should be pronounced like goti, GHOTI, GH from enough, O from women, and TI from nation. This is a humorous anecdote you can take, but here this anecdote highlights the inadequacies of English writing system. And what is this inadequacy? The inadequacy in one line is that the way you write the English language is not the way you pronounce them. So for every word in the English language, you need to learn two things. What are those two things? First, you need to learn how to spell them. Second, you need to learn how to pronounce them. So that is an additional burden on the shoulder of the learners, that they need to learn both the things, because pronunciation is somewhat different and the spelling is somewhat different. So you need to learn the pronunciation of every word. But this is not the case in most of the Indian languages, because the way you write is the way you pronounce the Hindi language. The way you write is the way you pronounce the Dogri language. The way you write is the way you pronounce in the Punjabi and other languages. So that type of system where the way you write is the way you pronounce is known as alpha syllabary. English is not alpha syllabary system. In English, you have alphabets, and those alphabets, like one alphabet, and in that one alphabet, you have 26 letters. And those 26 letters, when they combine, they correspond to different sounds. So what Peter Roach said in his book, English Phonetics and Phonology, this book I have shared with you in the WhatsApp group. Because of the notoriously confusing nature of English spelling, it is particularly important to learn to think of English pronunciation in terms of phonemes rather than letters of the alphabet. Letters you already know, starting from A, ending with Z. But you have different pronunciation. So the sounds, individual sound unit is known as phoneme. So F is one phoneme. E is another phoneme. We will study this thing in detail. Don't worry about that. So in any language, we can identify a small number of regularly used sounds. What are these regularly used sounds? Vowels and consonants. These are vowels and consonant sounds, and we call these, including vowels and consonant, phonemes. So now this is again an important understanding for you that English writing system is inadequate, and now you know the answer that why English writing system is inadequate. Now this is one figure, and this is our sound producing system. All of you have like this from inside. So we have lungs, and we know why lungs are used. Lungs are the source of moving air. We inhale air, we exhale. So inhaling, exhaling is the chief purpose of our lungs. And this is also the basis of our survival. If we stop this activity, we will die. But at the same time, the primary function we know of lungs is to move air, move in, move out. But secondary function is to provide the air for the production of speech sound. If air is not there, then how these atoms will move out? So if you are listening me, then what I am producing actually? I am producing sounds. I am producing air. Sound waves. I am producing sound waves. So these sound waves are in the form of atoms, and these atoms are coming out through this air, and they are reaching you, and then you can hear. So the secondary purpose of lungs is that lungs is the storehouse of air, and air is responsible for the production of language. Now, for other things that are important, that are above lungs, that you can see, one is larynx. Now, what is larynx? Now, larynx is responsible for this production. Sound source. This is also known as sound source. Larynx is also known as Adam's apple. Larynx is also known as voice box. So there are three names. And when you have more than one name for a thing, that is falls under synonyms. So larynx is one formal name, technical name. Second is voice box, and the third is Adam's apple here. And what do we have in this box? What do we have inside larynx? We have vocal folds. Vocal folds. Two vocal folds we have. These vocal folds are like onion skin. You know onion? Now, when there is a very thin onion skin, when you peel it, you find it very transparent, very thin. That type of structure is of our vocal folds. And how many vocal folds we have? Only two. And when these vocal folds, they vibrate like this. So air is passing from here, and they are doing this vibration. Air is passing from here. Different type of structure. I can make my vocal fold like this completely closed. So this you can do here. This is wide open. This is completely closed. This is partially. This you can do. We will see the various glottal states, because the space between the larynx is known as, the space between the vocal folds is known as glottis. That is new information. Glottis. 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 And above larynx, you have this pharynx. So above this, there is a tube. There is a tube that is responsible for providing a passage to food to go down in the stomach, as well as for the air to escape. So that is pharynx. This is pharynx here. This is pharynx from here to here. So this is your first filter. Second filter is oral cavity. This mouth is your second filter, and third filter is nasal. This is your third filter. So above larynx, you have three filters: first filter, second filter, and third filter. Third filter is nasal cavity, this nasal passage. Oral cavity, this mouth, where you have teeth, you have tongue, your tongue is quite flexible. Then you have this uvula, and you have this epiglottis. All such things are there in the mouth. They have some special role to play once you pronounce a sound. So not only you will learn how to pronounce better, but you will also learn how, if someone's pronunciation is faulty, then you can suggest ways through which a person can improve his or her pronunciation by the end of this course. So these filters are there, and these filters are above larynx. Pharynx, second filter is oral cavity, and third filter is nasal cavity. So I'll stop here, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me. You can raise your doubt. I will try to answer your doubt.